And next time, you don't ever have to take the sheets off. I will do that. And you still need the podium down, don't you? Okay. If we could all come in from the Foof Cafe and find a comfortable place to sit. Our meeters and greeters, Stanley and Don, will remain ever present at the front doors and the front door and meet and greet people as they come in. But we're going to start our service in here in just a second, okay? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Isn't this great? I know. Did you like coming in the other way? It's like, come on in, make yourself to home, and then come on into the sanctuary. So for those of you who are new, that's kind of our new entrance, so you don't know the difference. So next time you come, you'll go automatically to that door, right? Everybody else, they don't listen to me, so. Shall we begin? Shall we begin? I welcome you to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, where we take pride in honoring the first people of Florence, the Sayusla Indians, who strive to protect our environment where we are today. We give thanks to the tribe, past, present, and future generations. We also remember the impact of 9/11 that has had on our lives. And I ask that we take a moment of silence to remember the lives that were lost, the families that were affected, and where we are today. Just a moment of silence. Thank you. So we begin our service by singing our hymn number 123. Hopefully you all have a hymnal. If you'll open to number 123 and rise as you are able, we will sing our opening song, Spirit of Life. Thank you, Jeff. We love that piano, and we love the piano man. You'll see in your announcements that Jeff is going to have a concert here at the end of this month. I think it's on the 23rd. It's called Starlight Cabaret, and we invite you to come that evening and enjoy the music of Jeff Lovejoy. He'll probably have all his acoustics and everything else, but we love Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. So, do we have any? I know we have guests this morning. I do, because I've seen you all. I know where you live. I know your people. Would you like to stand and introduce yourself? We would love to at least say hello, and we've got our greeters. Stanley has a gift for you. So, Stanley, get with the gift. Stanley, go. So, would you like to stand and introduce yourself, please?
Yes. My name is Mark, and this is Diana. The last name is Llewellyn, and we're from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we moved here just last July.
So, you've been here a little over a year?
Yeah, a little over a year.
Well, welcome. Welcome. And Stanley has a book for you. This is called, I can't think of the name of it, Windows to the Soul, a book of haiku meditations. And we offer that to you as our gift for being here today. And I know we have a couple of folks here. Would you like to stand?
This is Patty and Beth Evans.
Patty and Beth.
We moved
No way. Way. Welcome. Welcome. And as Stanley presents you with this gift, we welcome you to FOOF. And if either one of you couples want to fill out one of our guest registries, like I said, thank you, Karen. It just gets you on the mailing list, that's all. We don't sell the list to anybody, but at least it gives you information about upcoming events. Okay, thank you for laughing. I need that. You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else here for the first time? Who else?
We have another one.
Whoa, hello. I thought I recognized you. Bob. Oh, okay. Well, have you received our book of haiku meditations?
I got one. So.
You did, okay. And you're going to share it with Bob? See, we're friendly here at FOOF. Anybody else that I've missed? It's good to see you all today. It really is. I'm going to invite Catherine. Would you like to have the honors of lighting our chalice? This is a flame we light every Sunday. And this reading is called Challenging Times by Lisa Doji. And she wrote this after 9/11. Why a flaming chalice? It's the cup of life, we answer. A cup of blessings overflowing. A cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst. A cup of wine, yeah, for celebration and dedication. The flame of truth, the fire of perfection. Oil for anointing and healing. Out of chaos, fear, and horror, thus was the symbol crafted over a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, of sorrow and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home. Blessed be. We are fortunate to have some youth in the audience. And here's what we're doing. We have a new tradition. So those that are sitting in this aisle, as we sing them off to the FOOF Cafe. And who's going to be with you, Rayma? Jim? Okay. So Rayma and Jim are going to escort our youngsters to the FOOF Cafe, where they will spend the rest of the service in merriment and leave us to our own vices. And what we're going to do is we're going to sing them off. And those in the aisle, if you would stand and raise your arms up and sort of form like a little bridge. I know. And we're going to sing the words. It's called As You Journey, and it's sung to the tune of Frere Jacques. Are you ready? As you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, learn and grow, As you journey, may you know, love and hope go with you, learn and grow. Uh-oh. Learn and grow. Bye-bye. So long, farewell, Helleaders. Oh, that is fun. So we welcome them. Thank you, Colin and Annika, for bringing those delightful kids, okay? I want to know what I'm going to get from Davis this week. Last week he had little flowers that I put, okay? So I'm just saying. Oh, that's so cute. And thank you, Stanley and Don, for meeting and greeting today. What a great twosome you are. We really appreciate it. I invite Catherine to come forward to lead us in this part of our program called Joys and Concerns. I'll be over here.
Good morning, everyone. This is part of our service that we share our joys and concerns. You know, I went to Ruth's class yesterday, and she ended with, what can you do? What can each person do personally, to evolve us past what we're going through now? Those are my words. And and I thought, this is what I do every week. I remind you to love and care for each other and love and care for yourself. They go hand in hand. You know, that one cannot be without the other. And so with Joys and Concerns, we invite you, if you have anything to share, a concern that you would want support in, or a joy that somehow you have come through something or experienced something, can come up. Sally has the microphone, and you can drop a shell in the cleansing water.
So we start with Jay.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I also went to Ruth's class yesterday, and that even though some of the news and explanations that she gave us was not exactly a joy, in a lot of it wasn't exactly uplifting, but it was very revealing. Mm-hmm. But what my joy is about is last night I got to pick the movie, and so I chose Sea Beast, which is an animated movie it's on Netflix platform. But it seems like it's a kids movie, but really what it's about is the stories and the lies that are told to us in such a way to divide us and to keep us angry at the other.
Great.
Drop a shell for that, Jay.
Now to cleanse that.
Brooke, come on forward.
I just want to send blessings and love to Darlene and Rick, who lost their puppy dog, and blessings on Joker's journey. And I also want to send blessings to my friend Robin. Her mother Cynthia died this week, and blessings on Cynthia's journey, and to Robin and her siblings. And I just want to remember that our thoughts are so powerful, our hearts are so powerful, our words are so powerful, our love is so powerful, our prayers and blessings are so powerful. And I'm just really glad to be here, and that's all I know.
By the way, I have a card in the back table and in the library to sign for Darlene and Rick. Any of you that have had a furry baby, knows how important they are in our lives.
Good morning. I thought somebody else would stand up here, and I found out the other day that George lost his mom. She died. So he had to fly out to Massachusetts.
Okay.
I can actually say that word instead of saying Massachusetts. So, hold him in your heart.
Our George.
Our George.
Thank you for reminding
Our
me.
George.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sorry to hear that. Shell, we'll drop one. David?
Well, this is a concern. About 50 years ago, I was adopted by a large family that I called a clan. But if they were blood relatives, it's a niece that was just recently, in the last week, diagnosed with leukemia and will be in the hospital for at least a month. And so I've known her since she was about this high. And so thoughts, prayers, whatever.
What is her name, David?
Her name is Mackenzie. Her dad named her Mackenzie because he likes to fish on the Mackenzie River. But anyway, it's a great family, and she's got her dream job in the last couple of years working for Portland Audubon. That's her degree is in marine biology. So anyway, thoughts, prayers,
Thank you.
whatever. Oh, yeah.
Here's to Mackenzie and the clan. Monica?
Hi, everyone. I have a joy to share today. Next weekend, my mom is getting married. I'm really, really happy for her that she's been in a long-time relationship, and she is joining with her partner. And so next weekend, we will not be here because we will be celebrating that union.
Wonderful.
So we're so glad to be here, but we won't see us next week.
Thank you.
It's always good when moms get married, huh? Renee?
I have a joy and a concern. I broke down on the Mackenzie Highway on my way to Mount Hood on Friday, and I was about 10 miles north of the Mackenzie Ranger Station, and had no idea. I thought it was just a mile or so back. You know, when you're driving so many miles, you don't know. So if I was with a friend of mine, and we were able to get the car off the road in a safe place. It stopped completely. Major issues, I believe. But anyway, positive energy in that direction. So we started hiking down the road, and it was about 89 degrees. And of course, being from Florence, we're not so used to that weather. And being in a little bit of trauma situation, we didn't really realize that we should bring our sunscreen with us. So we were walking down the road and decided, well, maybe we should try hitchhiking. And of course, being together, I felt safer that way. And again, being in the middle of really no cell reception. That's why we were leaving. No cell reception. Couldn't get any cell. So we started hiking down the road, and we were picked up by two wonderful people who brought us to the Mackenzie Ranger Station, who had air conditioning.
That's a show. That's a show.
Exactly. And whose cell phone had reception there. So I was able to call AAA, and I have the premium, thank the heavens, and I was able to be towed back to Florence in the truck with my friend, and ridden back here, and got here back before dark. So I also want to send joys for the wonderful people of Oregon. As we were in the Mackenzie Fire Station, one of the rangers said to us, "Do you need to go to the grocery store? I'll bring you to the grocery store and get you, and you can get some food." And we had snack bars with us. We did smart enough to do that. So we were, just the people were wonderful. AAA picked us up about 3 or 4 hours later, brought us up to the car. Lucky enough, where it broke down, was able to load it on very easily, and came back to Florence extremely happy. My concern is for the people in the fires. I'm from the East Coast and had, of course, seen things on TV, but never experienced what it looks like, what it smells like. You know, what the power being shut off, all the gas stations being closed, people being stranded. So my concern is for all the people in the fires, near the fires, and their situations because of the fires. So I'd like to drop another shower.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Renee. Thank you. We are so fortunate to live here. And so we can be generous with our thoughts and prayers for everyone else who is going through what climate change is doing right now. So the last shell will be for anyone we don't know about, those who are sitting quietly, shyly, at home, don't know, exactly how to express what's going on with them. That's for you. That shell's for you. And anyone who's experiencing joy somewhere in the world and happens to be thinking of us. I will finish with a short thing here. I seem to be in charge of sorting through the books as they come out of the storage set. And I found this, it's a unity thing. It's a unity book here. So this is Blessing for a Church, and I thought this was appropriate because here we are. May we who come here find peace. May there be beauty in this place, but especially may it be a place where men and women become aware of the beauty in themselves. May this be a place of instruction, a place of singing, and may this be a place of prayer. May whoever ministers here ministers in love. May whoever teaches here teaches in truth. May whoever serves here serve pleasantly. May everyone come to this house in expectation and go with thanksgiving. And may anyone who comes needing help go feeling blessed. And so it is.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. So we have a responsive reading. Oh, Judy. Oh, so we've discovered that if everybody puts their phones on airplane mode, we have better luck with Wi-Fi when we need to be using technology. So if you would go into your settings and put your phone on airplane mode, we would seriously appreciate it. as well as put it on mute or silent. Oh, I didn't have either, so that's a good thing. Paula, did you hear me? Okay. Paula's my best friend. I love to pick on her. So our opening hymn today is number 104 in your order of service. And I invite you to stand as you are able. Jeff's going to lead us in 104. Karen's going to be also singing.
Dana and Maya. We have a choir.
We have a choir? We have an unchoir.
We're going to stand over here, but you're going to sing from the hymnal.
Okay, so from the hymnal, number 104, Let My People Go. We'll wait for Jeff to get us started. 104. That's not the right one. What number is it, Ruth?
104.
When Israel was in Egypt's land. Let my people go. Got it. Our responsive reading today is titled, We Gather to Draw a Wider Circle. Now, the responsive reading should be in your program. Is it on the back page of the program? Yeah. So if you can follow along, I'll start us off, and you can be like the congregants. What do you think? This is by Gretchen Haley. In a world that feeds on moral outrage, in a time that prizes picking sides, we gather to draw a wider circle. And in a culture that teaches us to get for what we give, ask for me, we come to practice generosity and to remember we are all in this together. In the midst of life's bitterness, we choose to sing, to give thanks, to laugh together, and to be keepers of beauty. In gladness and in pain. To resist the push to the next moment and the next. To slow down, to breathe more deeply. To feel a part of something greater. For this hour and in this space, let us be the change we wish to see. It is now my pleasure to invite Reverend Dr. Ruth Miller forward as she delivers her talk to us today. And after that, I think she has a brief spoken word. Jeff will probably be playing a silent meditation. We'll turn down the lights and let you be quiet for a moment after that, and then we'll conclude our service. So, Ruth?
And thank you. Oh, my goodness. She's so good to me. I get to see you all. And I get to take this off. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is my first time looking out into the new setup. It's wonderful. I can see all the way to the doors. Whew. All right. So if you read the description, you know I'm going to be talking about unions, utopias, and belonging. And this, has been Labor Day week, and those of us who live on the coast are aware very much of all the people who are taking Labor Day, right? Yes, and it's the turning every year from, that sense of it's summer, we get to play. Oh, it's fall, we have to work. Right. I don't know how much you all know about the union movement in the U.S., but one of my favorite stories that kind of exemplifies it is a young man was explaining to his daughter, a father was explaining to his daughter what it was like growing up as the son of a miner in West Virginia. And he said it was really kind of strange because, among other things, you never know what you're going to get for Christmas. The resources were so inconsistent and so variable. And he said, one year I got a toothbrush. And then another year I got a bicycle. And the daughter was really curious about this and let her grandma know that she was, she'd heard this. And her grandma said, you go back and tell your dad the bicycle came when we got the union. The culture that we live in has been evolving for 6,000 years as civilization, or what I call the culture of empire, and some of you will get tired of hearing that, but I appreciate that. In the culture of empire, there are a few people who are worthy, and everyone else is one step up above an animal. That's how it's set up. It really came home to me when I finally realized that the motto, and I've known this since I was 15, the motto for the Roman Republic was senatus et populusque Romanus. Populusque is the population. So you're the Senate and then the people. And that was for a republic. But it was in the Hellenistic Empire. So the feeling is that a worker in those days, for the first couple thousand years that there were empires, was that if you were a worker, you were to be pushed, fed minimally, as long as you got the necessary to keep on working. That was all you needed. Recently in Pompeii, they've uncovered a place where we didn't get to go, but they found a storeroom, and in the storeroom were 2 benches and a bunch of old things, like a bit of a horse equipment and a part of a broken something, and there were blankets on the beds, and they realized this is where the slaves lived, was in this workroom. So that notion carried forward until the steam engine came along and the idea of machinery began to emerge along about 1400, 1500 AD or CE. And what began to shift was that the workers were no longer just a little better than animals. Now they're cogs in a machine. And that's what has been happening basically from about 1500 all the way to almost 1950, actually. The assumption that if you are working for me, you are a cog in my machine. And guess what? There are a lot of CEOs who still think that way. The assumption is that the outfit, the business, the enterprise is this big machine, and you're going to be part of it. And I can replace any cog just like I can replace any cog in my car, right? Wow. Well, COVID came along. The unions helped a lot in helping to say, no, these may be cogs in your machine, but they have to be treated. They have to get enough pay to live. They have to be able to support their families. They have to be able to have time off, or they will die, and then you won't be able to replace them. So unions helped turn that around. But along about 1950 or 60, the attitude toward unions shifted. And this was intentional on the part of the people who are the oligarchy that makes things happen in this country. They, through the media and through various policies, made it harder and harder and less interesting and inviting to be part of the union. So that by now, only about 6% of people in this country are members of unions, even though 75% of people approve of unions. Isn't that interesting? So there actually are YouTubes on how to join a union. You have to learn how now because it isn't automatically made available to you. When COVID came along, it woke people up. Time off does interesting things, doesn't it? You find yourself not having to show up every day in the same place. And suddenly the system, your own internal system shifts. You've been on automatic. You've been running on adrenaline and automatic day after day after day after day. You get up, you go to work, you do the minimum you can get through for the day. At the end of the day, you do the minimum you can. And if you're really in gear, you're really pushing as hard as you can, and you're doing as much as you can. And then suddenly it's not happening. Suddenly, you're with your kids all day. For a lot of people, that was really hard. And you're with your spouse all day. Most of us have no idea how to do that. In fact, that's one of the first lessons in retirement. And that happened for long enough, for enough people that they went, oh my goodness, wow, life doesn't have to be the way it was. Oh, wow. And so we started up again after COVID, and the first thing that happened was the Great Resignation. We have 11.6 million empty jobs in this country right now for 300 million people. That's pretty impressive. And that's 300 million includes the kids and us, right? Wow. And we have an unemployment rate of 3.6%, which is one of the lowest it's been ever. Now, unemployment rate is weird. In the Depression, the 30s, it was at 7%, but that was 7% of males between 16 and 65. That did not include females, and it did not include working adolescents. Isn't that interesting? When we say 3.6% now, we're talking about everyone between 14 and 75, male and female. So our numbers are just as high as they were during the Great Depression, if you think of it that way. And during the Great Depression, a home cost 1 year's annual income. And that lasted all the way till the great deliverer, Ronald Reagan. Since Ronald Reagan's time, real estate has gone up so that now the median price of a home is 10 to 15 times one annual income, one median income in any area. So the economy is weird, and we don't have unions. During the union time, I had a student who came into my program in the 1980s, and she had raised her kids in the 50s and 60s. And her husband was a bus driver, and she was a stay-at-home mom, and they had a home in the suburbs with a swimming pool. She was living in a camper in the Bay Area to complete graduate school because there was no other option. That was a huge insight for me. So what we had during the period we had unions was the emergence of a wonderfully prosperous middle class, and what we have had since the period we have unions is the increasing poverty class and a much more wealthy ownership class. The people who consider themselves to be worthy, and the rest of us are cogs in the machine. And in fact, we are thought of as consumers, not producers, and not citizens. And you've heard all that language. I'm just tying it together in a weird way. Right? So with the Great Resignation, what we saw were people responding and reacting to all of that. And people who had made money in the great sellout at the beginning of COVID, right? They sold off their stocks because the world was going to hell in a handbasket. Now they had cash. And now they didn't have to be living in the same place as the company they'd been tied to. They were no longer wage slaves, which is part of why we used that song today. In our country, you're expected to be a wage slave from somewhere around 16 to 18 to 21 years old, unless you can figure out a way to stay in school a little bit longer, until somewhere around 65, 70 years old. That's the expectation. You are now a slave to the company because of the health insurance, maybe, or because of the size of your mortgage, maybe, or because it's the only way you can be near your whoever, right? We have lost the idea that is our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. As a culture, that is not part of who and what we are or how we function. And again, we had a 2-year period called COVID, the pandemic. And we had, after that, the Great Resignation. And a lot of people think, the business magazines and the teachers think, I'm going to read from an article I pulled off of Reuters, one of my favorite news feeds, by the way, Reuters. It says, still, even with millions of workers giving their notice, companies don't really have a grasp on why employees quit. In a report on how organizations can contend with attrition while attracting and retaining talent, employers cited compensation, work-life balance, and burnout as reasons employees were leaving. And that is often what people will say when they're leaving the company. You're not paying me enough. I can make my side, my little side business is going to make me more money than what I'm making with you, so I'm getting out of here, right? I need to have that balance. The COVID period gave people a sense of, oh my God, I was totally out of balance. Now, this is not the balance I want either. I don't want to be stuck at home with my kids and my spouse all day, every day. But, but I need something other than what I had, right? And then the third one is the idea that burnout, people just got burned out, and they were unwilling to live with that. And I know what that burnout state is. I think everyone here does. You have pushed so hard, there is nothing left. Yeah? Well, that's what the employers think. But an interview series that was going on were not what the employees said. The employees' top 3 factors were not feeling valued by the organization, not feeling valued by their manager, and not feeling a sense of belonging at work. And that was why they left. The name of the article is Bosses Are Oblivious. If those are the reasons people are choosing not to work for people, and they are valid reasons, I saw the heads nodding, you all have had that experience somewhere at some time, then we really need to look at what the workplace needs to be. Now, I happen to wear a number of hats, as many of you know, and one of my hats is as a consultant to consultants, basically. I help businesses function more effectively, and many of my businesses are entrepreneurs who are making things happen in the world. And one of them is this amazing man who goes into companies that range from 5,000 employees to 40 or 50,000 employees to build learning organizations based on authentic community in which the leadership is seeking inner wisdom as the basis of their decisions. Authentic community at every level. Everyone leading and supporting each other. Everyone a leader in community. And everyone learning. And his goal is to make it possible so that every company that he works with becomes knowledge creating, because the world is changing so fast. You can't use last year's data. You have to be creating new understandings and new knowledge in order to be effective. And he makes a difference, one of the first things he does is he helps the company see the difference between defining who and what we are and defining what we do to raise income. And what has happened is in the companies that he works with and other companies who try similar things, the bottom line in both people and money, profits, goes up. Funny thing about that. People are feeling valued. They're feeling the sense of belonging. They are more productive without having to push so hard so they don't get to burnout. It's a fascinating thing. Community and the acceptance of the reality that we are all learning and growing all of the time, and we can help each other do that, turns the companies around. There are 2 or 3 former CEOs who are now making their living teaching other people how to do what he taught them how to do, which is kind of cool. I'm in the final chapter of the book we're publishing on this subject. So when we think of work as being a place where we are engaged in meaningful work with people we are in meaningful relationships with, bringing home sufficient funds to live comfortably on the planet, all kinds of interesting things happen. And we grow and develop, and that's the third piece of what he is teaching people, is that it is necessary for human well-being to be constantly developing. We can't be okay doing the same thing over and over again. We need to be constantly learning and developing. This is so cool. It is so neat to see this. Now, the second thing I was going to talk about today is utopias. Can you see the lead in here? When people go about designing utopian communities, these are exactly the things that they are thinking about. How can we work together in meaningful ways to produce the things that we need so we can live comfortably and contribute to the larger world? All the utopian designs have been that. The ones that have succeeded, and there are a few that continue to exist after the founder goes away or passes on, the ones that have succeeded are the ones where it is a democratic process. Ooh, another UU principle that is used to guide what's going on. And in the work that I do with this guy who works with these large companies, that is a fundamental piece of what happens. Instead of having top-down decision-making, it becomes what this wonderful matrix management, some of you may remember that, where within the group people are making their own decisions and then they are involving, quote, the leadership, unquote, in the decision-making process, and it becomes a democratic process where those who feel the responsibility and have the larger vision are engaged but not determining the outcome. Huge. So when we have a group of people who come together based on the idea of the inherent worth and dignity of everyone there and the democratic process and our second principle, encouragement to growth, right? And in the case of the work that my client does, it's actually spiritual growth. It's getting in touch with the inner wisdom that is available to us, yes? He, by the way, has a doctorate in transpersonal psychology, as well as the MBA and a mechanical engineering or chemical engineering degree. Magnificent mind. So when we're working with these concepts, then our world begins to work. And we not only belong in something that is meaningful, what we start doing is we start feeling belonging in a larger world, right? We realize that in some way what we are doing is contributing to and affected by, and we are affecting and they are affecting, and we are all interconnected. Oh my goodness, there's another UU principle. I think you know where I'm going. We are at the point in this universe, in this world, where what the UUs have put together as our essential principles are being recognized over and over and over again in many different circumstances and ways, and people are starting to live them. And isn't that marvelous? We don't have to just be here on a Sunday morning. But when we come on a Sunday morning, we get to be reminded, oh yes, this is what my life and work can be. I belong, and we all belong, and we all honor and appreciate and encourage the well-being of every other being. This is a different culture. This is a transformation. We are about to be living in a world that is no longer driven by acquire, accumulate, and control, the essence of empire culture. We're about to be living in a world where these principles that we honor on Sunday mornings are likely to be the guiding principles of all beings everywhere. Now, there will be enclaves of folks who cannot give up their old stuff and who will continue to teach their children that. And then, if all goes well, there will be more opportunities for those children to travel and see other ways of living. And what I have seen over and over again, and I know you have seen this, is when you're exposed to something that is more like feeling good and less feeling uptight, you're more likely to move in that direction. So one of the key things we need to be aware of as this new kind of way of living emerges is that everyone needs to have access to how everyone else is doing it in some interesting way. I wrote a book, there's a copy of it over there, called Home. And in that book, one of the things that happens is kids up to 7 stay in their villages. Between 7 and adolescence, they get to start interacting in a market town on a regular basis. And in adolescence, there are museums and transportation stations in every market town where there are guides who work with adolescents to explore how they are going to travel for the next 5 to 10 years of their life, where they're going to go, how they're going to support themselves, and what interesting things they might encounter. And the idea is we all need a quest We all need to have an adventure. That's a huge part of why we see these adolescents roaming around the streets, trying to figure out what fun thing they can do, right? And we don't give it to them. We need a culture that honors that. So my utopian world includes just building it in, just recognizing that kids need quests and their parents are not the people to help them design it. They need someone who can hear and see in a new way. I have designed a utopian world. I call it home. Each one of us has in our minds the images of what utopia might be. And if we can allow ourselves to hold that image and live with that image and make decisions in alignment with that image, oh my goodness. Truly, my goodness and your goodness and everyone's goodness must come to pass. So I invite all of you not only to recognize that we have these fabulous principles that we talk about on Sunday mornings, but also to see ways in which you can start seeing them in the world out there and encouraging them in the world out there, and then to see the possibility of a world based on these principles. You will be amazed at how your life is transformed, and all of ours. Thank you so much for being you. All right. Oh. Thank you. All right, we're going to do a little meditation now. If someone could turn off that light, I will turn off this one. Thank you so much, all of you. So just relax in the chair and take a nice, long, slow breath. And allow the body tensions to just flow out with the air. And then take another long, slow, deep breath to just feel being present here and now. And one more, to just be and feel the energy that is flowing in and through and around us and filling this room and this world. So now take a cleansing breath and bring your awareness back to here and now in this fabulous group of people that have come together in our wonderful belonging community. Thank you.
It's lovely. Did you also hear the kids in the side room? Isn't that fun? Try to nice and relax, and you just hear all that giggling. It's just fabulous. So at this time, we have come to our part in our program where we're going to ask for an offering. We have 2 ways for you to contribute, actually 3. The first is contribute to our fellowship, if you'd like to make a contribution. And the second is to make a donation to our community partner this month and next, and that is Habitat for Humanity. So those of you who are new to town, do you know about Habitat for Humanity? Great organization. They're looking for volunteers, by the way. And we have an announcement here about Habitat. But it's an opportunity for you to give to this particular organization as well as to ours. We'll pass a basket in just a minute, and we'll make some announcements. But you want to come forward and talk about Habitat real quick. Thank you. One of our fabulous volunteers.
So this ties right in with what Sally had to talk about today. Habitat for Humanity has been around in Florence, I think, since 1989. I'm not sure about that date. But they they just broke ground on a new home. And for the first time, it is for a senior veteran. In the past, it's been for families, but now it's for a senior veteran. They need our contributions monetarily. Right now, they don't have another spot picked out because the prices have gone up so high. But they also need volunteers, as Sally mentioned. And I volunteer there. I love it. It's a great way to feel part of the community. They partner with many other organizations. Like, for instance, they just had the, the Derby races. Pinewood, yes. And so they partnered with Boys and Girls Club. But they do lots and lots in the community with other community partners, and great place to volunteer. I do cashier. They need a lot of cashiers. There's a seat there. You don't have to stand the whole time. 4 hours a week, whatever. But they have lots of different jobs, volunteer jobs, so anything you can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you. It's always nice to have a testimonial of someone who actually works there, and I know Paula was involved for many, many years, as well as many were. So if you're new to Florence, believe me, you're going to get involved in many of our organizations. Ron, yes?
Paula actually worked with Jimmy Carter in Plains.
Yes, she worked with Jimmy Carter in Plains when she was building homes with her dear husband, Craig, many, many years ago. So anyway, announcements. So we're gonna make an offering, and I'm gonna do some announcements. What am I trying to do here? We have a basket. Pam, would you help on this side? And maybe Maya, will you help on this side? Stanley's offering. So it's clearly marked. We have on this side, we have Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and on this side, Habitat for Humanity. If the basket is turned, guess what? Habitat for Humanity and Florence Unitarian Universalist. So you can see the signs. So I'm going to ask if you'll start over here, and there's an expectation, none, for you to give. If this is something you're unable to do today, we ask that you just pass the basket in love to the next person. And before we begin, I ask that you repeat after me. Divine love through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. Blessed be. So we will begin with that. I've got a few announcements to share with you as the basket is being passed. If you'll look into your program, on the right side we have some events coming up. We're going to be doing a hike on the 14th. We have a board meeting on the 14th. Next week we have Reverend Donna Smith with us. She's going to be doing her class on raising consciousness afterwards. We have a new member orientation that will be Stanley. Get with it. She's trying. She's good. Just don't pick on the volunteers, Sally, okay? Love them. Bless you. New member orientation. If you're interested in learning about Unitarian Universalism more so than you know, or about our particular fellowship, we invite you to share a moment with us next Sunday at 11:30. Then there's the fall equinox at St. Andrews, if you know where that is, at 3:30 on the 20th. We'll be going through the labyrinth and doing a ceremony for that. And another fog project on the 21st. The 23rd, we have Starlight Cabaret with our own Jeff Lovejoy. And Catherine, you have a special thing coming up as well. Are you going to talk about that? Okay, let me finish this real quick. Also, when we're done today, Ruth Miller, we love Ruth. She has books in the back if you're interested in purchasing. They're all $10. But she'll be in the library shortly after service concludes, and she gets a little something to eat. You're welcome to join Ruth in our library for a dialogue circle where you can deepen your understanding and talk about her message today. And Catherine is available if you would like to set a time when you can meet with her about affirmative prayer, or if you need some counseling and you want to set an appointment confidentially, see Catherine or even see Ruth, and they'd be glad to help you. UU Voices for Justice. This is something that we support, is happening over in the Salem area on the 17th of September. Flyers on the back table. So please consider joining some of our foofers over there where they talk about Voices for Justice. And what else? Library. Youth Fellowship. Yeah, we're looking for some more folks, some more adults just like you, who might want to be with the kiddos on Sunday mornings. And if you're interested in doing that, please see Judy or myself after service, and we'll put you on the list, okay? So yes, Xana, come forward. What are you going to share?
Never at a loss for words, I am. Volunteering. I'm the volunteer coordinator. So yeah, lots of opportunities to volunteer, to serve in the community and at our beloved church. I want to talk about September 22nd, 4 p.m. Put it on your calendar. Our own beloved Catherine Hemmings is being ordained by our own Reverend Ruth Miller, Dr. Reverend Ruth Miller. I want to get it right. And that will be at 4 p.m. on the 27th here. 22nd, I'm sorry, thank you. 22nd, and if you would like to be a part of that, as far as the after celebration, we're going to do that in the cafe. I have it on good word that she really likes champagne.
Yes, she does.
So I won't tell any more secrets about you, but we need some food. We need snacks and appetizers. So it'll be from 4. We'll have about 45 minutes or so of the ordination ceremony, and then we'll go in there and we'll have a little celebration for her. Okay. Let me know after service. I'm going to start a little list of people who would like to bring things, okay, to eat or drink. And if you think about it this week, call me. My number is on the website as volunteer coordinator, or next Sunday you can tell me whatever. We've got a little time. Okay? One more plug for our clipboard on the back. Volunteer, please, to be greeter and or bring snacks for after service on Sunday. Okay, keep signing up over there because we need to keep that going, so we keep that as part of our fellowship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Judy, do you have something?
So I haven't talked about the Vote Forward project in a little bit. So just to remind you,
Vote
Forward. This
Don't
is
say
a
it so fast.
this is a joint project between UU the Vote, Florence Indivisible, and the Democratic Club to encourage folks to vote. We are sending letters out to people who tend not to vote, but when they do vote, we like the way they vote. So I have packages here. It's a list of 10 addresses. You'll address an envelope, fill in one sentence about why you think it's important to vote. Get it back to us. We'll mail them out. We are shooting for thousands and thousands of letters. We have over 2,000 now, and are hoping to get at least double that. So it takes about an hour to fill out one of these packets of 20 voters. I'm happy to check them out to you, and you can bring them back here whenever you want, or back to the Dem office, or back to Sally's house, and all the information is here.
Okay. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So we have this fabulous basket. Thank you for allowing us to do double duty with announcements as well as the offering. Both are important, and we want to use our time as wisely as we possibly can. And would you like to bring the kids back in? You want to tell them they're welcome to come back in at any time. They probably don't want to come back there. Having so much fun with Maya, or Rama, and Jim. Catherine, would you like to come forward? We're going to extinguish the chalice. And these words come from Cynthia Landrum. I love this closing. It's called Be True, Be Well, Be Loving. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, be loving. Thank you for all for being here today. When we conclude, we're going to conclude with our peace song. We invite you to come to our Foof Cafe, enjoy some light refreshments, and hook up with Dr. Ruth Miller afterwards. So at this time, I invite you to rise as you are able, form a big circle around the chairs, hold hands or lock arms if you're comfortable, or just stand. And we're going to sing our peace song. If you don't know the words, they're on the back of the program. Jeff will guide us through the melody, and if you feel uncomfortable singing, then just no one will know because you have a mask on, right? So, okay, I'm going to sneak over to the front door. I'm going to go towards this way. Go right here. Okay. Jeff, I think we're almost ready. Are we?